Hello everyone! So today I wanted to combine two sort of ideas for videos that I hadn't done before. One, I have always wanted to do one of those like K-pop tags or like one of those question tags kind of things. And I've seen this one going around, the K-pop collector tag. It's been around for years. Nobody tagged me, I just want to do it, so I'm going to do it. And that's a video where I would be like talking a lot but not really having anything to do. And so I thought I'd combine that with another video idea where I have stuff to do with my hands but don't have anything to talk about, and that would be a sort of binder makeover kind of thing. I have some little things that I want to change in my binders. I'm not putting in new photo cards or items or anything. I just want to, like, I don't know, change out the sleeves or change the fillers or something like that. So yes, today I'm going to be doing some little touch-ups, makeover, rearranging, changing things in some of my binders, and also answering the questions in the K-pop collector tag. Now I'll put timestamps down below for the different questions that I answer. So first, let me explain what I want to do in this binder, and then I'll start answering the questions and stuff. So this is my SM Girl Groups binder, and I have a few things that I want to change. First, I found these new hollow sleeves, which are like little flowers. Can you see that? I think they're so cute. I really like them. They're from Black Lotus. I got them on their shop on AliExpress, which I will link below if you want to get their sleeves. I got them in the 61 by 88 millimeter size, which means they fit inside Dragon Shield sleeves. I do that because these sleeves are thinner than the kind of Dragon Shield sleeves that I normally use. They kind of like move around in the pocket a little bit, and so I like having like the sturdiness of the Dragon Shield sleeve to keep them in place, if that makes sense. You'll see as I go along. Second, I want to change in both IU and Tan's collection these 2-pocket pages that I have. I have these BCW 2-pocket pages, which are so old and ratty. I think they're the first sleeves I like ever bought. It might be hard to see on camera, but some of them they just have like all these marks on them from getting stuff in and out of the packet or in and out of the sleeves a lot over time. And in addition, I swear some of them are just poor quality. Like I don't know if you can see how like the stitching or the weld is on that, but it just, I don't know, it just looks shitty to me. I think they look bad, and they've got all these marks and dents on them from using them over the years. So I got new 2-pocket pages, and I'm just gonna replace all the ones in here. And then last, I want to change the fillers on Solgi's collection. I know I just set this up, but already I'm over these white sleeves, just in general in my collection. The problem is my cat is a tortie, and torties have a lot of black hair, and I don't know if it ever comes across on camera at all. I really can't tell, but in person, there's just so much cat hair, and it drives me up the damn wall. And with colored sleeves, even if they're light colored, it's like less noticeable. So I'm gonna switch this out for pink. Solgi's color is gonna be pink. I know 17 is already pink. I'm gonna change 17 later. Wait for that. So yeah, that's all the stuff I'm gonna do in this binder. I'm gonna start with changing out the 2 pockets for all these collections, and I will start with the first question. So the first question is, what is the first album that you got? Now, I sort of have a long story about this because, well, I'll get into it later. One of the later questions is like, how did you begin collecting? So I'll just explain the whole story behind this there and just answer briefly. The first album that I ever bought was actually BTS Love Yourself Her, which might be surprising because I never talk about BTS these days, but like I said, I will explain later. So yes, next question is, what is the first photo card that you got? And since my first album was BTS Love Yourself Her, my first photo card was a card from that, and it was actually, the one I pulled was Jungkook's pizza photo card, which I'll insert a photo of. It's a very, very cute card. I don't have it anymore, but it is extremely cute. All right, the next question is, how many albums do you have? I have never counted before, but I counted for this, and apparently I have 61 albums. Dude, it's like high-key difficult to like answer questions and like do other unrelated shit with your hands at the same time. Just wanted to let you know that I'm struggling. Oh, these fit perfectly. That's so satisfying. The next question is, how many photo cards do you own? And yikes. I counted for this video, and apparently I have currently in my binders 795. Oh my god. Wow. Let's move on. which member do you pull the most? So two of the people I collect are soloists, so obviously them, but for people where there are random cards, I actually feel like I don't pull anyone in particular usually for NCT. However, 17, I definitely feel like there are two people that I pull the most. One being Seungkwan, thankfully. That's great because I collect him, so I'm very happy about that. And then Dino, I really feel like I pull Dino a lot. The man is stalking me. I swear, like, every single, like, set of albums I buy, I will pull at least one Dino. Or it feels that way, at least. Where do you usually buy albums? So, these days, if I'm buying a new album, I typically get it from Kpop Market 01 on eBay. I used to buy from K-Town For You a lot, but I don't know, during the pandemic, I didn't buy for them for a while because I just wasn't buying albums. And I started hearing a lot of stories from other people about how, like, their shipping was taking a really long time. Like, they would order stuff and it wouldn't arrive for a really long time. And that got me really, really stressed because I don't want to, like, wait ages for, like, new albums that I buy. And then in addition, I don't know, their website's all fucked up recently. Is that just me? I don't know. So I got scared off of K-Down For You and I haven't ordered from them in a while. Yeah, so basically it's Kpop Market 01 on eBay, or if I don't want to pay that much and I'm willing to wait a little bit longer, I will order from Sarong Hello, which is like my local K-pop store. All right, so now I'm going to start replacing the photocard sleeves that are in here. I'll be using the pink matte shields from Dragon Shield for the fillers, and then those cute flower sleeves for the actual photocards. Now, back to the question. For photocards, I usually get them on Mercari Japan or on eBay. Sometimes I'll get them from Mercari US, but that's more rare, I suppose. What is your best buying experience? Now, my best buying experience is probably every time I have ordered from this one particular eBay seller. I'll put it in a comment and, like, link them down below, but they just always do the most when it comes to packaging, like, just the most secure packaging ever. And I don't know, it just blows me away every time. I've, like, never had packaging that with that much care and thought put into it, and they're, like, just really nice and, like, you know, good to talk to, so that's always great in a seller. Now, what is the worst buying experience you've ever had? Oh boy. So I won't mention them by name because part of the issue technically isn't their fault, so I don't want to, like, put them on blast for something that they didn't do. It's this one particular, it's one of those large, like, resellers on Instagram, and I made 2 orders with them. This is what it looks like with the flower sleeve on, by the way. So I made 2 orders with them, like a week apart, and then they shipped them at the same time, pretty much. They were shipping from overseas somewhere. One package took, there's, like, something on this sleeve. One package took, like, months and months to arrive. It did arrive, but it took, like, 3 months or something, which, again, this was, like, during the worst of all the shipping issues, so I kind of get it. But then the other package, it still didn't arrive. I waited an extra month after the other one arrived, and finally I was like, okay, what's the deal? So I contacted USPS, and they said that it had been delivered months ago and that it had been signed for with a signature at my address. And the way USPS can tell that is because they have, like, GPS stuff on their, like, delivery equipment or whatever, so they, like, know exactly where a package is delivered, like, when it's delivered. And supposedly it was signed for at my address, which, how does this look? Can I tell? I like the pink, and I think it looks good with these colors on the back as well, so we'll stick with pink. Anyway, I live alone, and I sure didn't sign for it, so who did? Beats me, but I never got that package. And both of these packages, like, weren't cheap, you know? They, like, it was, like, kind of rare stuff, and so I didn't get, like, half the items that I purchased. It was really frustrating, and the first package didn't even have everything that was supposed to be in it, and when I contacted the seller, they were like, oh, it's in the second package, and that's, of course, the one that never arrived. So I don't know how much is their fault and how much is the shipping fault, but I'm, like, scarred and won't order from sellers like that again because I don't trust, when shipping times are that long, it's hard to trust that it will, like, arrive or that it will contain the items that it's supposed to contain. So what is the most expensive item that you own? Now, when I say most expensive, I don't mean like what I paid the most for. I'm talking about like what it goes for now, or what I see them sold for now. And I have multiple items, usually like rare albums or DVDs that I see these days pretty regularly sold in like the $300 to $400 range. Some old IU DVDs and things like that. There are also photocard sets that go for that much, but like photocard sets from things like that. But since they're whole sets and not individual items, I'm not really gonna count that. So yeah, I'll put some example pictures on the screen maybe, but because there are several items that I can think of that would go for that. I think one example that I might use is IU's Real Special Edition album. It was limited to 10,000 copies. So I don't know, I've seen it listed for like $300 and something. I've also seen it listed for $600, but I have no idea if it ever actually sells for that much, because that's pretty ludicrous. But then the copy that I have is signed actually, and I've never seen another signed copy listed before, so I honestly have no idea like how much it's worth, but I would have to imagine that that's the most expensive item that I own. Okay, now for the question, when did you begin collecting? So this goes back to that BTS Love Yourself album that I was talking about. So I got into K-pop actually almost exactly 10 years ago, which is crazy to think about, but I didn't ever buy anything K-pop related for probably like 5 or 6 years, because I was a college student. I was working like 2 jobs and in school at all times, so I was literally completely broke. And yeah, I had absolutely zero money to spend on like anything. It really sucks. So I never bought any K-pop stuff until I graduated and like, you know, got my first big job, you could say. And right around that time actually, so I was like, I hadn't even paid attention to the world of K-pop albums. Like I didn't know what they looked like or how they were sold. I didn't know that like random versions, that different versions of an album were even a thing, okay? So basically, at the time, I was a BTS fan, and they were just about to release their Love Yourself album. And I specifically remember that that was like the first time that a K-pop group sold a album for pre-order on Amazon. Or at least that was the first time that happened, and it like was on my radar. And because it was like super accessible and you didn't have to like go to any different website, that was an easy way to sort of like get started buying albums for me. So that was the first album that I ever bought. And that would have been, I think, 2017, because that album came out like right after I graduated college, I want to say. So that was the start of my like buying K-pop related stuff, but I didn't start collecting in earnest, I would say, until like actually learning what, you know, different versions of albums are and learning about like photocards and inclusions and stuff. I think until maybe 2019, like the second half of 2019. I think that was when I got into it. And then I think I made my YouTube channel like a year later. Next question, what is your biggest purchase regret? Well, I mean, generally if I buy something, I don't regret it that much, just because usually, even if I don't want it later, the way the K-pop market is right now, you can resell pretty easily. There's gonna be someone else that wants it, so essentially you're just passing it along to someone else who will appreciate it more. So my biggest purchase regret is that order that never arrived that I talked about earlier, that Instagram seller. What is your latest purchase? So the last thing that I bought was Hichan's Universe jewel case photo card. I gave up on finding a trade for it and just purchased it. What item were you most excited to get? I feel like I can definitely answer this one easily. I was super excited when I got IU's Modern Times Epilogue repackage album because, well, for a few reasons. One, it's, in terms of packaging, one of my favorite albums of all time. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Two, it was limited to, I want to say 15,000 copies. It was a limited edition album. So there aren't a lot of them around, and they're often very expensive. And at that time, I was just getting into like hunting for rare IU items. And I found it for a really good price. So it was my first It was an album that is, you know, again, one of my favorites of all time, and it was my first big like score of all time, you could say. So I just remember I was like so afraid it wouldn't arrive in the mail for some reason. I don't know why. Like, I got it from, I think, Yahoo Japan Auctions, but I ordered through Bai. I don't know why, but I was really stressed about it arriving, and I just vividly remember like opening the package and just being like, I don't know, like really overwhelmed. Yeah, it was really exciting. What's your most precious possession? Again, easy answer. Mine would be my signed Cheshire album. That is the album that, I'm not really big on signed albums in general. Like, I know a lot of people like will collect like a signed copy of like every album of an artist that they like or something, but I don't really care about signed albums that much. I just wanted to get it for a couple albums that are really special to me. And Cheshire is the album that got me into IU. She released, I'm a year younger than her, so I found the song 23 when I had just turned 23. And it was one of those moments where like you find a song that just explains exactly how you're feeling better than even you can explain it yourself. And then I, you know, listened to the whole album, loved the whole album, found out that like she wrote the songs, and just rapidly got sucked into the world of IU. So that's still just one of my absolute favorite albums of all time, and I don't know, like a really special album to me that was important to me at an important time in my life when I had like, I think just recently graduated college. So yes, having a signed copy of that is special to me and definitely my most precious possession. If you could keep just one item from your collection, what would it be? Well, I just rambled for a while, so you could probably guess. I would keep my signed Cheshire album. No question. No question. What is a dream item that you want? Sorry if this is boring so far. By the way, when we get to Taeyeon, we'll be actually like putting sleeves on actual photo cards, but my Seoulgi collection's new, so it's mostly fillers. Anyway, what is a dream item that you want? So this is related to what I was just talking about earlier. Again, IU, when she's done a few different items where it's like there's special merch at a concert that has like a different item depending on the location that you went to. And one of those is for her Cheshire album tour. There was a merch item that was like a mug, you know, like a drinking mug that you could buy. And each one came with a photo card. And the mug and the photo card, like the words on the mug and the photo card, were different at every location. Now, the photo cards, I don't care about the mugs, but the photo cards actually have images. I think most of them are images, maybe all of them, I'll put a photo up, are from the 23 music video. And I literally just rambled about how important that song and that music video, how those two things are to me. So I desperately covet these photo cards. Now they're extremely, extremely rare, but I would pay like, God, I'm like fumbling like crazy. I would pay like a ludicrous amount. I will pay a ludicrous amount for them if I ever find them. Cheshire concert mug photo cards, come to me. I've seen them for sale once, but I just like wasn't ready to spend that much money. But someday I will have you. What is your favorite album cover? So I'm gonna answer this, like, I'm assuming this means like out of the ones that I own, not just like out of every album that's ever been released. If we're talking just the cover and not like overall packaging, I have to shout out Red Velvet's Russian Roulette. Boy, I hope I have enough pink sleeves. Red Velvet's Russian Roulette, which is fitting because that's who I'm filling in right now. The cover of that album, I just think is, I mean, I love everything about it. I love the color palette, that sort of like washed out pastel tone. And what I love about it as well is that it's such an odd, quirky little photo, which I think is so perfectly suited to the concept that Russian Roulette had. I don't know, it's just one of my favorite things in K-pop when I feel like the designers in the art department really like went off and did something sort of off the wall, or I don't know how to describe it, but there's just indescribable vibe, odd vibe that album gives, or album cover gives off, that I really love. And I love the like font choices and the like graphic design of the logo and stuff like that as well. I think everything about it works, and that's why I own that album actually. What is your favorite photo card? I literally could not choose one single photo card. It's just like not possible. It's just not possible. So I chose a couple photo cards from a couple different artists. I couldn't stop myself. And again, I'm doing this out of the photo cards that I own, not out of every photo card ever. First, shout out those Woozy teenage photo cards. I don't know if I'm gonna choose one or put up photos of two of them. I just like, I mean, they're just incredible. Then for Haechan, I literally couldn't narrow it down to like less than 3 because that man just has so many good photo cards. There were so many good ones when I was flipping through my binder. I was like struggling so hard. But what I narrowed it down to was one of his Resonance Kinos from the From Home concept. Yes. And one of the photos, it's not even a selfie, but one of the photos from the From Home like deco frame package, whatever the fuck that merch item was called. Can you tell I love that photo shoot? I'm so annoying with how I never ever shut up about that stupid photo shoot. I've never even heard anyone else rave about it like I do, so I don't know why I'm so obsessed. It's literally just the lighting. I just like the lighting a lot. And, oh, and one more, because I can't stop. There's this one from the Season's Greetings deco package, the Dream selfie version one. So freaking cute. And for IU, I chose one of the photo cards that was given out with both the Love Poem Concert DVD and Blu-ray, the one where she's getting her hair braided. It's just adorable, extremely adorable. That's all there is to it. Do you have any dolls? I do not, at least not if you mean like, I assume they mean like K-pop dolls? I don't know, I'm not really a doll person, so I don't have anything like that. Which item are you willing to buy now? I kind of don't understand this question. I don't know if it means like, what item am I willing to spend the money for now, but like can't find it anywhere, if that makes sense. I kind of assume that's what it means, so that's how I'm going to answer it. For that, I will say Taeyeon's O limited photo card. I'm just really ready to complete my Taeyeon collection. I really, really want to. I totally forgot to sleeve this photo card. I really want that, and if I could just find it for, I would even spend a lot of money on it because it is a rare card, so I'm like not even expecting to get it cheap. I just need it to be cheaper than the current one that is listed on Mercari Japan. So yes, that's a card I'm desperately looking for at the moment. Next, do you have fansite merch? Sort of. I have this little like photo book of Haechan. However, I found out after the fact that it's from one of those like Sasang fan sites, and I didn't know that at the time that I got it because I don't know, I'm not like on Twitter. I don't pay attention to that side of the K-pop world, so I'm not even aware of what like the, you know, horrible stalker fan sites are because I don't like go looking for that kind of stuff, if that makes sense. So I like never come across it. And I knew who this person was because they also do a lot of performance fan cams, and that's all I knew them from. I thought they just did performance fan cams and had no idea about all the other shit. Anyway, the good news is, I won't even show it or name it because like I won't give them publicity, but the good news is that I got it like secondhand, so it's not like I gave them money anyway. So I don't feel that bad about it because it's not like I am supporting them. And the photo book is just like performance photos. It's not like stalker photos. So that's another reason that I like didn't know until someone told me. Yeah, but that kind of scarred me, and now it's like I know that there are like good fan sites or like ones supposedly that are like not like that, but I'm so out of the loop that I don't trust myself to like know and like keep up with who's good and who's not. So I'm just afraid, and I'm just gonna stay away from fansite merch in general now. It's just safer that way. Which packaging do you love the most? I don't know if this means in general or out of the albums that I own, but I'll answer both. So in general, I'm just gonna flip through to make sure I did everything. In general, I love hardcover book packaging. I think it's, first of all, I think it looks really great on the shelf, and I think it's really durable. It doesn't get damaged easily, especially if you're someone that like flips through your photo books a lot like I do. I don't just like put them in a sleeve and leave them. I like to like look at them. So I want something that will like hold up well. So because of that, I really prefer hardcover book packaging. For specific albums that I own, actually, you know what? I think I might get these out and actually show them. One second. I use Modern Times Epilogue repackage. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's so shiny and reflective. It's like hard to show on camera without like, look, there's my phone. And it's actually like, it's like opens, it opens with a magnet, and it's really sturdy and durable. I just think it's absolutely beautiful, great packaging. And I have to shout out, I use Flower Bookmark 2. It's just, I mean, everything about the design is like so, like this little notch here. It's so detailed and beautiful. And even on the inside, so it's like, it's not the most secure packaging ever, but it is so beautiful. The book looks like this. It has this codex binding, which I personally love this kind of binding. I think it looks really beautiful, and also it allows the photo book to lay completely flat, which I think is really, really amazing. I love the design of the pages with the little flowers in the background. The photo book is gorgeous. And this one, I chose this over Flower Bookmark 1, which has similar packaging, because this one comes with a flip book. Can you see that? I don't know, just amazing. I think it's really, really beautiful packaging. Oh, before I start sleeving Tan, one little note. I am gonna put her in the flower sleeves as well, but the problem is that the flower sleeves that I got, in order to fit inside the Dragon Shield sleeves, they're 61 by 88, like I said, but she has these two Japanese cards that are just barely bigger than that, or they're like the exact size. They're like exactly 61 by 88. So they just barely don't fit in those sleeves. However, I do have my like heart hollow sleeves, and these are supposedly 61 by 88 also, but the thing is that they're side loading, and the problem with the photo cards not fitting the other ones is the width this way. And for whatever reason, I guess it's because there's no seam on this side, so it's a little bit more open. They fit perfectly all the way into these heart sleeves, even though they're supposed to be the same size, or fit the same size cards, whatever. So I'm gonna put those two cards in heart sleeves and the rest of them in the flower sleeves. Maybe that will bother me later. It probably will. Maybe I'll end up putting her all in heart sleeves. I don't know. I don't know. This is just my plan for now. Let's go on to the next question. Which packaging do you dislike the most? So again, I'm gonna answer this for in general and for ones I own. In general, first off, gotta shout out bag packaging. Of course, I hate bag packaging. All my homies hate bag packaging. Second, I personally really hate clear plastic slipcovers. A lot of albums have them. NCT's Neozone, the first two versions. I use Lilac has them. If you collect in Hypen, I think their first album has them as well. They're just so easily scuffed and scratched and damaged. I mean, when you buy those albums and you like get them out of the package, a lot of times they will have scuff marks on them already. They're just impossible to keep nice, even if you never touch them, because they usually come a little bit damaged. And last, I also want to mention magazine style packaging. I do like how big the photos are, I really do, but the problem is that something about that shiny, soft cover, again, is just really prone to damage. They're kind of hard to store because they're floppy and larger than all the other albums. So yeah, I find it hard to store them in such a way that that shiny soft cover doesn't get dense. And like, if there's a soft cover, it's also harder to prevent pages from getting dinged or bent or something. So yeah, I just prefer something more durable than that. In terms of albums that I own, it's a little difficult to answer because typically, I mean, part of the reason I buy albums or keep albums around is because I really like the design of them. So I don't often keep albums that I don't like the design of. One, IU has a couple albums from what I would call before the days of good album packaging. They're just like really flimsy, like thin, that sort of thin cardboard kind of material, really prone to damage. I don't care for them. And then also the graphic design of 17's Your Choice albums. First of all, it's got that belly band, which is really annoying to have to slip on and off. I don't have it on mine. I just put it in a drawer or something because I don't want to deal with it every time I want to look at the album. I just really don't like the graphic design of it. I think that whole sketch style and is kind of ugly. I think the colors like don't go together at all. I don't know. I just think it's not good. I mean, the reason I kept it was because I like the photo shoot concept has nothing to do with the outer design, and I like that photo shoot, so I kept it anyway, but not my favorite album to look at on the shelf. Who do you collect the most? No surprises, it's IU. She's the only person for whom I collect like everything I can get my hands on, even dumb stuff like photocards from like CF partnerships. I would never ever like even bother with that for any other artist. So yeah, clearly it's IU. Next question, what are your collection goals for the year? Well, funny enough, I just did a video about that, so I will link it in the card above. I'm pretty sure I've never linked something in a card before. Oh my god, am I a YouTuber? Maybe I'll link it in the description also, I don't know. I don't know how to do this. Do you collect concert goods? If this means like exclusive merch that's sold at concerts, then I would say yes for IU and select stuff for Haechan. Like I have some of his concert photo cards. If this means like, you know, I know some artists will do that thing where they like take a ball, like a frisbee, and then they like sign it and throw it into the audience. I definitely don't collect stuff like that at all. I don't have a lot of storage space. I have like room to grow on my shelves for sure, but if I outgrew those shelves, I have no idea where I would have like put another one, you know, or like have more room to put stuff. So I just try to avoid bulky merch in general. And that's also why I don't collect like every album of the artists that I love and just get like the ones that I love the most. I quite simply do not have room for it. How are you feeling with your collection right now? I'm feeling really good and like content right now. I guess that's how I describe it. I like that I've, you know, downsized a fair amount recently, and also for the first time like set clear goals for what I want to get this year. I like that I have like, where's this cat hair? I like that I have a plan, you know? It just feels, I don't know, for the first time, I feel like I've stripped it down to like the stuff that I really, really love and am organized in how I'm approaching collecting this year. So I feel really like in control. I don't know, I like plans and planning, if you can't tell. I like organizing things. So yeah, it feels good. This is like the most organized that I've ever felt about my collection. So yeah, I don't know, I feel really good about it. It feels, the pace that I'm collecting at now feels really manageable. I sure hope you can't hear my downstairs neighbor talking, but if you can, I'm so sorry. Maybe I'll put like music or something to try and cover it up. But we are not stopping this filming train. I'm on a roll here. Next question is really interesting. It's how do you see your collection in 10 years? Now, that is a really hard question to answer. For context, I've been a K-pop fan for, I mean, it's interesting that the question is asking specifically about a decade because that's pretty much exactly how long I've been a K-pop fan. And but I've obviously only been a collector for like half that time. And having been a K-pop fan for 10 years, the industry in general has changed so dramatically in that time period. I mean, everything from like, not just stuff like what's trendy in terms of like sound or, you know, new stuff is coming out all the time. Like, I don't know, fandom colors became a thing and greetings became a thing. And I don't know, like, it seems like with K-pop, there's always like one group that starts doing something. Like I remember when light sticks became a thing, you know, like previously no one had light sticks. So the world of K-pop is changing so dramatically and rapidly all the time, especially in the last couple years. And that also means that the world of merch and collecting has changed a lot in that time period. Like, again, there was a time when albums flat out didn't come with photocards, and I collect for people that, you know, were releasing albums before photocards were a thing. So like I said, from the start, it's hard to even predict what K-pop and K-pop merch will look like in 10 years. And then on top of that, there's the difficulty of predicting yourself in 10 years. Like, I mean, my thoughts on collecting have changed dramatically just in the half of 10 years that I've been collecting. Like, when I first got an album, I was like, it never even occurred to me that I would want to get every album from a particular artist or that people did that. And when I first started getting a few albums here and there, just albums that I liked, I thought photocards were so stupid. I thought they were just so dumb. They were such a gimmick. They were a total scam. I couldn't believe that people collected them or would like buy multiple albums to try and get a particular one. And boy, have my thoughts on that changed, clearly. I mean, how many photocards did I say I had? We won't mention it again. So, you know, how can I say what my collection will look like in 10 years? I mean, the good news is that with my collection, my perspective has always been to like be, I've mentioned this in another video before, but to be curating rather than growing. I'm not a person who's ever had a problem getting rid of things, or like, I don't typically hold on to many things for sentimental reasons. It's like pretty rare. So I don't know, will my collection be huge and still something that I cherish? Or will I have gotten rid of it entirely? You know, I mean, it's like literally impossible to tell, especially knowing how fickle I am and how prone I am to, I don't know, getting rid of things. Like I said, like, my collection is something I curate. I want it to be a selection of items that I really love and cherish and no more or less than that. So I think having that perspective will help me in the future in terms of what I decide to do with it. One thing that I can say is that, I don't know if I can say collecting is a phase, but certainly liking K-pop music is not a phase for me because a decade is over a third of my life. So yeah, and like the entirety of my adult life. So certainly, I think I'll be into, unless something very dramatic happens, I imagine I'll be into K-pop music as long as K-pop music is a thing. So yeah, all that long rambling answer to say, I don't know where my collection will be in 10 years, but I hope wherever it is, I will be happy with it. I've been filming for an hour and I still have, so that's actually the entirety of the Kpop collector tag. I went through it a lot quicker than I was expecting, and I still have like all these photocards to sleeve. So I can do one of two things. There are two things that I was planning on doing in later reorganizing videos, either the Kpop history tag or a 2012 retrospective. I was feeling really nostalgic. You know what, I think I'll do that one. I'll save the Kpop history tag for another video, and I'll just do my sort of 2012 year in K-pop retrospective. And why I wanted to do that was because, like I said, I have been into K-pop for 10 years. That feels like a milestone. And I just got really nostalgic recently thinking about, you know, how I viewed K-pop back then and what was coming out back then and how exciting and new everything was. And it was honestly a really good year for K-pop, that is. So I thought I would just have a little in this video with a 2012 year in K-pop Nostalgiafest. And I think that's appropriate considering that the last question I just answered was literally like reminiscing about the beginnings of my K-pop phase. So I literally had like written down the other day just like my favorite stuff from 2012 that I wanted to talk about in a video at some point. So the first thing I want to talk about is my favorite album from 2012. You will find out more about this in the history tag I do, but actually I started K-pop as a Big Bang fan, which, like, big yikes these days. We don't talk about you know who. But the album that got me into K-pop was Big Bang's Alive, which had just come out when I discovered the music videos for Fantastic Baby and Bad Boy. Again, whether you choose to listen to Big Bang's older stuff still is, you know, a personal choice. The good news for me is that I never liked You Know Who. Seungri is who we're talking about here. There's no point not saying his name. I never really liked him, and he was always objectively like the least talented and had the least lines, so he's like kind of easy to ignore for me. But again, no problem if like you don't want to listen to their old stuff even. I certainly wouldn't listen to anything new that they released with him in it. But if you are, you know, okay listening to music from shitty people, it's still, I think, great music, and was and is my favorite album of the year 2012. Now, favorite song of the year. When I was going through my whole like 2012 like nostalgia spiral, my favorite song of that entire year was Sistar's Alone. Now, I know that like some older K-pop songs are like still like big among new K-pop fans. Like I'm talking like people that became K-pop fans in the last like 3 years. There are some like older songs that like everybody I feel like knows about. But I mean, I don't know, like you tell me, if you're like a new K-pop fan, is Sistar's Alone as big as it was, as big among new K-pop fans? Do y'all know about it? Like, I have no idea. It's a huge song in my mind because it was just inescapable back then, and it's an amazing song, amazing concept, one of the most iconic choreographies I've ever seen. If you aren't familiar with Sistar's Alone, you have to go listen to it and watch the music video is what you have to do. So that's, yeah, no question, my favorite song of the year. Now, I'm also going to shout out my least favorite song of the year because my memory of this is just so strong. If I'm having a Nostalgiafest, I just have to mention it. FX's Electric Shock. That song came out, I don't know when exactly, but it was definitely the summer of 2012 because I remember it being everywhere and I could not get away from that song. And it's definitely one of those songs that I think you either love or you hate because of that sort of earwormy hook. It's got that na 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 na, you know, butchered, but whatever. If you listen to it, you will know exactly the part I'm talking about. And I couldn't deal with it. I heard it everywhere. I feel like it was being performed everywhere and covered everywhere and played everywhere, and my God, was I over it. So, sorry, I'm just flipping ahead to look. So yeah, definitely, no shade to FX, they're a great group, but Electric Shock, in 2012, we were enemies. I also really, really wanted to talk about, again, if we're talking about 2012, I call this my favorite performance of 2012 because I didn't know what other category to put this in. That year's SBS Gayo Daejeon, the theme was Colors of K-pop. And they did, and again, I don't know if people these days know about it, but if not, you should. You have to see this. So what happened was, for this Color of K-pop theme, they did some special collab performances where they took idols from different big groups at the time and put them into 4 special color-themed like project groups to record and perform a song at the, you know, big show. And so there was like, I think there was like Mystic White. There was a girl group called Mystic White and a girl group called Dazzling Red. And the boy groups were like, I think there was like Dynamic Black and something blue, Emotional Blue. I can't remember. I don't like the boy group ones as much. I bring it up specifically because of Dazzling Red. That song is amazing. I forget what the name of the song even is. And honestly, I will find the performance and link it in the description because I want people, it's not that super easy to find because it's such an old video, but it's such an amazing song and it's got like just the most iconic lineup. I mean, Sistar's Hyolyn, Hyuna, I think Nana from After School. Who all is in it? You know what, I'll put a list on the screen of everyone that's in it because I'm sure I'm gonna forget everyone, but it's just a super iconic lineup to put together for one performance, and it helps that the song is amazing. Hyolyn is absolutely murdering it. She just kills the whole song and makes it, in my opinion. So definitely go watch Dazzling Red's performance. And then I wanted to talk favorite show of 2012, so favorite variety show. Now, my favorite variety show at the time, no question, was Running Man. And I'm sure I originally discovered it because of the, I think that year, Big Bang did one of those bell chase game episodes that they do on Running Man. If you never watched it, they do these episodes where basically they're split into two teams. The cast of the show, which is like 6 people or something, and the guests. It's essentially a game that's like tag, where you're trying to find the other team and rip off their name tag to like tag them out. But one of the teams has secret missions that they're trying to do without getting tagged, and the team that's chasing them has bells on their shoes. So I don't know how to explain this well at all. There's a team that's running and has missions to do, and there's a team that has bells on their shoes that's chasing them. And it's such a fun dynamic. And that's how I found the show. But my favorite episodes are actually, I think they're like the most iconic episodes of the show. If you haven't seen them, again, I'll try and link them in the description. There's this series of episodes called, people call it Yoon's Bond, because Yoo Jae-suk, in these episodes, the producers essentially surprised him by giving him a secret spy mission where he is essentially working against everyone else, but nobody knows it except him. And it works because he is so reluctant and just absolutely hates it. Hates that he has to do extra work. Hates that he's got this secret that he's got to hide from everyone. He just plays it so well, and it's so fucking funny. They have to like run around and like squirt each other with water guns or something, or avoid getting squirted with water guns. I don't know. I'm explaining it like complete shit, just like not explaining it well at all. So all I can say is I'll link the episodes down below, and you can just watch them. I swear they're funny. I haven't watched Running Man in a long time. I don't know if it's like that good today, but back then the chemistry of the cast and the episode ideas were just incredible. And my memories of 2012 so vividly include watching Running Man. And I have to mention this because this is like my honorable mention TV show, because I have strong memories of it from 2012 because that's, again, when I discovered all this stuff. But it actually aired, I think, from like, it stopped airing in 2010, I think. But that show is one of my favorite K-pop variety shows of all time, and it's Family Outing. Again, I discovered it because it has Daesung from Big Bang, and also some of the cast members from Running Man. So Yoo Jae-suk is in it. Also Hyori is in it. Yoon Jong-shin, I think, was a cast member. Am I remembering that wrong? It's basically just a game where they're sort of like, or it's a show where they're just like living together and have to complete tasks at like these like normal family houses out in the country. And then they have like celebrity guests come on to help them complete these tasks, like, like farming tasks, like gathering food or like feeding animals or like, I don't know, just like basic stuff like that. What works about it is the chemistry of the cast is amazing. It's like Legends of Entertainment, I feel like. And you just have to watch it to understand. I don't know how to explain it, because it's sort of like Hyori's Bed and Breakfast, where like you hear the description of it and you're like, oh, she just runs a bed and breakfast? Like, that's it? But when you watch it, it's all about the interactions between people that like make it. Some of the clips from it are so fucking funny. I will link them down below. Specifically, the ones that stand out to me are freaking Yoo Jae-suk and Daesung trying to gather perilla leaves for dinner and just being complete and total idiots about it and like failing at the most simple task. I have seen that clip so many times. It is so funny. And there's another clip where their celebrity guest was like, I think he was like a baseball player, I don't know sports. He's some kind of sports guy. He's probably a big sports guy, and it's dumb that I don't know him, but whatever, I don't know sports. It's a big, huge dude, basically. And they're trying to play this game with the cast where they're like hitting each other on the forehead to like knock each other over. And I have cried laughing to that clip like multiple times. I will link it down below if I can find it. It's so old and I haven't watched it in ages. But I don't know. And even the baseball player was just like absolutely, or sports guy, whatever, was just absolutely losing it, having so much fun playing this dumb like children's game. And that's just what I don't know, what I loved about that show. And what I kind of miss about Idol, I mean, that's not like an Idol variety show specifically, but about variety shows in general, that I feel like, you know, K-pop has changed so much to where everyone is doing their like own shows on YouTube or on these like exclusive platforms. And stuff like Family Outing or like Invincible Youth, where you like got a bunch of random people together and just it worked because of the chemistry of the cast. I feel like that hasn't been around in a while. I don't know if there are shows that are still like that out there now. I would love recommendations, because that is something that I miss so much from that era of K-pop. Like the thing that I miss the most, undoubtedly, is just from that time period is the variety, just the variety shows in general. I'm just flipping through to make sure that I sleeved everything that I wanted to. Wow, that took so much longer than I thought it would to answer those questions. Or rather, it took longer in time. It took longer to sleeve the photo cards than I thought it would. Let me put it that way. I thought maybe I would get to a second binder today, but I guess not. So yeah, I've been filming for ages, so I think that will do it for this one. I only got through my SM Girl Groups binder, but I got through 2 things I wanted to talk about. So for the next one I do of these, I think I'll do the K-pop history tag. And I will probably have to find something else to talk about, because this takes a long-ass time. So yeah, if you're somehow still here after this long-ass video where I basically just rambled and did nothing the whole time, I'd definitely love to know when you got into K-pop and like what you're nostalgic about from that time period. It's just so weird to look back that far in time and think about like the things that I loved and how different they are now. So I'm curious how long you've been into K-pop and, you know, what makes you feel that way looking back on it. Because it is, when you first get into it, it is a special kind of different feeling than it is when you've been into it for a long time. I don't know how to explain it, but I hope you know what I mean. I'm gonna shut up now. I've been talking so much. So thank you so much if you stuck around and actually finished this video. Bye bye.